Streaming now.
This hour of Eyewitness News, thousands more Southwest flights canceled. The complaints from passengers are growing, and the airline's also facing backlash from its employees.
Plus, a family reunites with their dog after the animal was attacked by a woman while out on a walk.
Pipes bursting across the city, including inside a record store. The owners say thousands of records and other items in the shop are gone for good.
And an Eyewitness News exclusive here tonight. A Chicago area dancer talks about getting back on the floor after a serious spinal cord injury.
A bit later tonight, the strange and fun ways different cities in the U.S. ring in the new year.
About that time of year.
We're talking some New Year tonight. We're going to have some surprises for you, too. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Rob Elgas.
And I'm Liz Nagy. We begin once again with the problems travelers are having here and around the country. Southwest Airlines has canceled more than 8,000 flights in the span of 3 days. The airline is even paying to charter a bus to get travelers from New York's LaGuardia Airport down to Houston, Texas. That's a long ride.
It's a long one, yeah. Here in Chicago, the massive pile of bags at Midway Airport is shrinking as the airline moves bags to a secure facility before sending them to their final destination. I'm Michelle Gallardo reports from Midway tonight.
Midway is much quieter than it has been in recent days, but that is only because the flights are now being preemptively canceled. As for that baggage claim debacle, that continues, but slowly but surely passengers are now being reunited with their bags. Over the last 3 days, Southwest Airlines has canceled some 8,100 flights nationwide. That is 4 times more than during the entire month of September. And their troubles and those of their passengers are not over yet.
We came here, but our 4 checked-in bags are gone. So my wife and daughter, they are in the line, and they are registering their complaint.
The complaints are many. Ronald Coleman, his wife and daughter, missed one of 2 back-to-back cruises they'd booked for the holidays. Their luggage made it to Florida. They didn't.
I'm going on a Delta flight next week. I got vouchers for Southwest, but I'm not taking a chance with them.
Appearing on Good Morning America today, Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg vowed to make sure the airline lives up to its promises to provide impacted passengers with adequate compensation for their out-of-pocket expenses.
I reminded them of their promises and reminded them that we will be here to hold them accountable to things like taking care of the expenses of those passengers.
Compensating their employees for what union leaders say was an entirely avoidable debacle is also an issue, with pilots and flight attendants stranded for days.
One hand didn't really know what the other hand was doing. So where our dispatchers may be saying, okay, well, we're not going to send this plane somewhere, the crew is where they are, and the system may think that they took a flight somewhere else.
And while Southwest Airlines has apologized multiple times for what has happened, it may still be a few days before things get back to normal till the weekend, at least when they say crews and planes should be back in place to resume a normal schedule. At Midway Airport, I'm Michelle Gallardo, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Southwest Airlines plane that left Midway Airport for Phoenix this afternoon was forced to make an emergency landing in Milwaukee. The airline says the flight was diverted due to potential mechanical issues involving one of the plane's flaps. The aircraft landed safely, is being taken out of service. It's being replaced with a new plane so passengers can continue on to Phoenix.
Can't catch a break there.
Imagine being on that flight. You think you're going.
You finally take off, and
You
it's
end up
just
in
you can't.
yeah.
Well, all of this started last week with the winter storm. Fortunately, that is now days in the rearview mirror, and we're in the midst of a warm-up.
It felt good out there. 44 degrees tonight. Meteorologist Cheryl Scott's here with us. We still hopefully have plans.
My IFB just turned off, but I know you're tossing to me, so we're going to do this weather. Temperatures right now in the low to mid 40s out there, well above average, and certainly a change from late last week when we had wind chills well below 0. Wind gusts right now upwards of 25 to 35 miles per hour. It's going to stay windy tonight, and those winds out of the south and west will continue to pump in the mild air as we go into the day tomorrow. Tomorrow morning we wake up in the 40s, so temps tonight not dropping, and tomorrow afternoon we're going to climb into the 50s. Those temps continue to rise as we head into the evening. One of the warmest December days this month expected. Then our temps come crashing down. We're also tracking some rain as we head into our New Year's Eve holiday. We will time that out with your full weather in just a bit. Liz, Rob.
Okay, Cheryl, thank you. Dog reunited with its owners today after being stabbed. The owner's now happy to have their pet back. The stabbing happened when a teenage girl was taking her pet out for a walk. John Garcia talked to the dog's owners about this terrifying attack.
12-year-old Bebe is leaving the animal hospital, going home one day after life-saving surgery. His family could hardly be more happy.
He's doing great. He's eating good. He was even barking with the other dogs, so that's a good sign to them.
Bebe survived a vicious attack, stabbed multiple times by a stranger outside the family's home Monday evening. His owner, a 15-year-old girl, was taking her for a walk. She managed to fight off the attacker and run, but not before Bebe suffered serious life-threatening injuries. These pictures are from the building's security cameras. One image shows the suspect lunging at the dog with a knife in her hand.
For no reason whatsoever, this woman just attacks and starts stabbing her dog. So, I mean, it's horrific in itself.
The Garrido Stray Rescue Foundation helped raise more than $9,000 in just 2 days to pay for the surgery Bebe needed.
Everybody focuses in on the evil that this one person did. Well, we have over 250 people who've stepped up to help this family.
Police say the one evil person is this woman, 61-year-old Jeanette Olivo. Officers took her into custody shortly after the incident, much to the family's relief.
She needs to stay in jail. She needs to be held accountable because this cannot be happening.
While Bebe, the dog, is back home tonight, the woman accused of stabbing him remains behind bars, facing 2 felony charges. On the Northwest Side, John Garcia, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Tonight, the Vatican is closely watching the health of Pope Emeritus Benedict XVI. Officials say his condition has worsened over the past hours. Today, Pope Francis appealed to the faithful to pray for his very ill predecessor, quote, until the end. Pope Benedict retired in 2013. The 95-year-old was the first pontiff to resign in 600 years. He lives in a monastery on the Vatican grounds. Cardinal Blaise Cupich released a statement saying, in part, let us join our prayers with those of Pope Francis and the Catholics around the world as we ask for the Lord's grace to help sustain Pope Benedict, as he has sustained the church throughout his silent witness.
Today, people gathered at a Maywood church that was destroyed in a fire on Monday. They came together to pray outside New Life in Christ Bible Church.
We're just grateful to have made it out, and we're believing God for great things.
The Sunday services will be held with St. James Community Baptist Church in Broadview. Fortunately, no one was hurt in the fire. Investigators have not determined the cause.
The search is on tonight for the thieves who broke into a Northside church and stole nearly $10,000 from their Christmas weekend collection. The burglary happened early yesterday morning at St. Vincent de Paul Catholic Church in Lincoln Park. Mayor Kawash talked to church leaders today.
And it's a big loss for the church. This Christmas is one of our biggest days.
A holiday heist the day after Christmas. The St. Vincent de Paul Church in Lincoln Park now at a loss of an estimated $9,000 or more in donations. Church staff came in Tuesday morning to find damage like this all over the building.
It was immediately clear something was off. Doors were open that shouldn't be open. Blinds where they came in through the window were all disheveled.
Father Robinson says more than 500 people attended Mass over the Christmas weekend, marking the first completely normal celebration after years of dealing with the pandemic. Now, another blow, with this robbery impacting many church services, such as this soup kitchen, which feeds the homeless 3 times a week.
To lose this kind of collection means our outreach, our homeless outreach is diminished, our education programs, our arts and music programs, the things we do, just keeping the lights on. It's a huge hit.
The suspect certainly left his mark on this church. That door right behind me is where they believe he first tried to break in. There's some visible damage on those doors before he made his way over here to these windows. They believe he pried one of these open, and that's where he likely entered before going in and damaging some other parts of the church.
But you can still see some damage.
Robinson says there are a number of surveillance cameras on DePaul's campus that may help find the suspect, and that evidence is currently being pieced together. At this point, police have not released information about a suspect, but Robinson says some video shows one man who may be responsible. He's hoping that person will come forward to work this out.
One of the first steps, again, to go to is anger, but I'm just sad, and I would rather look for a way to solve this rather than to punish.
In Lincoln Park, Mayor Kawash, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
All travelers from China will soon be required to show a negative COVID test result before flying into the U.S. Passengers will need to get a test no more than 2 days before flying and present proof of the negative test to their airline before boarding. Passengers who test positive more than 10 days before their flight can provide documentation of their recovery in place of a negative test result. New CDC rules take effect on January 5th.
A not guilty plea today from the man accused of attacking House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's husband in their California home. David DePape was in court today where he's accused of false imprisonment, among other charges. It was revealed in court that he was also planning to attack other people, including California Governor Gavin Newsom. The co-leader in the plot to kidnap Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer is sentenced to more than 19 years in prison. A federal judge sentenced Barry Croft Jr. today. Croft and 3 others were plotting to kidnap Whitmer from her vacation home just before the 2020 presidential election. They were against the COVID-19 restrictions that Whitmer put in place in Michigan.
And tonight we're watching for a written ruling from a Kankakee judge about the controversial SAFE-T Act. Law reforms Illinois' criminal justice system and eliminates cash bail starting Sunday. Illinois is the first state in the country to do this, and it's facing a constitutional challenge brought by law enforcement in more than 6 counties.
As we thaw out from the weekend's deep freeze, an unsettling problem is becoming more common. Pipes are bursting in buildings. It happened at a record store in Chicago's Avondale neighborhood, destroying thousands of records and other items. The owner is now speaking to ABC7's Sarah Schulte as they try and clean up.
Water drips out of an album cover. At least 4,000 LPs, a couple thousand VHS tapes, and vintage toys were destroyed at Brick and Brack Records and Collectibles when 4 frozen pipes burst on Christmas Day.
It was flooding so much up here, it just went down to the basement and was spewing down the walls, just getting through any crack and nook and cranny it could find.
Owner Nick Mayer cut his Christmas celebration short with his family in Alabama to return to Chicago to deal with the mess. His wife, Jennifer LeMasters, stayed behind and was the first to check out the damage.
I was kind of prepared to just like burst into tears when I saw it, but I think because it was only half of the shop, I felt lucky that it wasn't everything.
Brick and Brack specializes in rare albums, vintage toys from the 80s and 90s, VHS tapes, and other collectibles. One of the store's signature record collections are horror movie soundtracks.
People come to us for our soundtrack selection, and that was one of the 3 bins that took the brunt of the water. 100% of that inventory is gone.
Insurance will cover the financial loss, but that doesn't mean the hard-to-find inventory destroyed can be replaced.
It's vintage, and even the new product that we carry is hyper-limited.
Mayer and LeMasters have owned Brick and Brack for 10 years. They moved to a bigger location on Milwaukee Avenue in Avondale exactly a year ago.
It's the most daunting part to me is it feels like we're gonna have to start over, all over again a little bit.
The goal is to reopen the store sometime in January. Meantime, the owners are in the market to buy thousands of tough-to-get LPs and vintage toys. In Avondale, Sarah Schulte, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
People living at the Albany Terrace Senior Apartments in Chicago's North Lawndale neighborhood say they've been dealing with burst pipes since Christmas morning, and water filled the vestibule there. Tenants also say they've been without heat for the last 3 days.
I'm walking around in my apartment with my coat on, a sweater. I mean, this is ridiculous. I'm looking at seniors walking around also with the, in the hallways. The hallways are very cold.
Chicago Housing Authority runs this building. Officials tell us they take these issues very seriously, and there are crews on site today working on fixing the problems. In Hammond, Indiana, the public library will be closed for the next 2 weeks for repairs after a sprinkler pipe burst. Water flooded the building, flowing from the 2nd floor down to the main floor and basement. The deluge caused extensive damage to the walls, carpeting, and electrical systems. Fortunately, about 36 books were damaged.
Hundreds of people have been forced out of their Hyde Park apartments because of electrical problems, and now they're running out of options for what to do next. Evelyn Holmes has an update on what it will take to get people back in their homes.
Tonight, 2 of the building towers at the Algonquin Apartments remain dark as displaced residents join forces with a tenant advocacy group to figure out what's next after an electrical problem at the complex forced them from their homes. Some of the affected tenants got together to voice their ongoing concerns with how building management, Mac Properties, is handling the crisis.
And we need help with food. They need help with clothing. They need help with money. People are Ubering. Of course, this is the holiday. Where are a lot of people going to go? They don't have a place to go.
Problems began at the Hyde Park property Christmas Eve after an electrical problem caused 2 buildings in the apartment complex to lose power. when power couldn't be restored at the identical buildings located on Cornell Avenue near 50th Place. Residents like Gabriella Johnson were left with no heat and not much more than the clothes on their backs as they were forced to evacuate the premises.
I want to pinch myself because I think I'm in a dream. I'm so angry.
Building management, MAC Properties, could not be reached for comment, but in an afternoon email to residents that was obtained by ABC7, a representative says power has been restored, adding we are still working on the heating system as well as the damaged doors due to the city of Chicago evacuating the building. As of now, the plan is that you will return home by 12/30/2022. Now, residents say their hotel stays have been extended through Friday, but where they remain concerned is what happens if the buildings aren't reopened by then. Reporting from Chicago's Hyde Park neighborhood, Evelyn Holmes, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Howard Brown Health says patients will not be turned away if a planned 3-day strike takes place next week. Union employees accuse the healthcare provider of unfair labor practices. Officials say the organization is facing a $12 million revenue shortfall and needs to change the way it operates. Union workers say those changes should not include layoffs. While negotiations continue, Howard Brown's president and CEO says patient care won't be compromised. Howard Brown Health focuses on Chicago's LGBTQ+ community.
TikTok is being banned from electronic devices managed by the U.S. House of Representatives. That's according to an internal notice sent to House staff. The notice identifies TikTok as, quote, high risk to users due to a number of security risks. The U.S. government is expected to ban TikTok from all federal devices soon as part of legislation awaiting President Biden's signature. In just a few days, the minimum wage in Illinois goes up, but by state law, the new minimum wage is $13 per hour. That's $1 higher than the current minimum wage. In 2019, Governor J.B. Pritzker signed legislation that establishes a schedule of wage increases, putting Illinois on a path to $15 an hour minimum wage by 2025.
He is now on a path to recovery. In the blink of an eye, this dancer suffered a major injury. He says he couldn't feel his limbs after falling down a set of stairs.
But thanks to surgery and rehab, he says he's now a living miracle. Mark Rivera has the story you'll see only here on Eyewitness News.
This is video taken just this summer of Mauricio Fernandez Robles Gil. Vibrant and full of life and athleticism, jumping, leaping, moving. That all changed on October 8th.
That was the scariest part. Like, I didn't feel my legs, I didn't feel my arms, but I was alive. I was like awake, but I didn't feel anything.
Fernandez's new puppy, Harry, nearly toppled down the stairs, and Fernandez jumped to keep him from slipping. Instead, he fell down the stairs, crushing part of his spine in the process.
At a point, I thought I was gonna be in bed forever, you know, because you don't feel anything. You're like, you think you're gonna be paralyzed forever.
A professional ballet and tap dancer and teacher, he thought his way of life might be over at just 29 years old. But with his perseverance,
I was so excited because I could wiggle one toe. I'm like, look, it's coming back.
There you go. And dedication, along with the help of Northwestern medicine doctors and physical therapists, Fernandez has gone from back on his feet, getting help with each step, to today, dancing ballet again with the help of unique zero-gravity physical therapy suits to relieve pressure on his legs, even tap dancing with no harness.
He was able to incorporate some kind of dance concepts into his therapy.
He was always positive, always had a smile on his face, always motivated, and really that carried over to all the other patients too, really, that helped, and I think that was a big factor in his recovery.
Now Fernandez is dancing down the road to recovery, and while he says there are many steps to go,
if it's possible that I get to dance, to walk, like, I'm just gonna do everything in my power to do it. So that's the route that I took, and I was like, just gotta keep working every day and try my best.
Mark Rivera, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Has not even been 3 months, and he's dancing without any assistance.
He just has like a sense of powerful spirit. Right. Smiles. He's wearing that neck brace. He's positive. Gosh. That was a great story. And even the therapists are like, his attitude, that makes so much difference.
It does, but clearly, I mean, the medical stuff helped as well.
Yeah, yeah, and what a long road. I mean, you saw some of the early stuff. He was hurt.
Well, his form, even in the zero gravity harness, was incredible.
Yeah. A suburban high school band on the trip of a lifetime. That's ahead.
But first, days after a massive snowstorm, Buffalo, New York is still working to dig out the progress made today. Next.
Driving ban remains in effect in Buffalo, which is still working to dig out after that massive, deadly snowstorm. Driving ban is expected to be lifted tomorrow. Erie County Medical Examiner says 37 people in the county died as a result of this storm. 29 of those deaths were in Buffalo. The National Guard's been checking on people at homes where there was no power for days. People are able to get reimbursed for food and medicine that's spoiled too.
I can't get over those images. For a snowstorm like this to cripple Buffalo is just wild.
It just kept coming and coming and coming, and it was.
Now the rain headed their way, I think, right?
Good point. Yeah, we were talking about that earlier. Cheryl Scott's with us, plugged in. She can hear us, I hope. Cheryl, you there?
Yes, we are here, and I can hear you
Yay.
now. I had
Beautiful shots out there.
And I hit the button, and then I couldn't hear anyone.
It happens.
It's
live television.
It is live TV. But I do want to say with the Buffalo, it wasn't just one storm. Yes, they had blizzard conditions, but then it was just the relentless lake effect that just kept going and piled up, and
it was bad. Hey, what do you think about what Liz was mentioning, the rain and so they're expecting rain, and then could that lead to flooding?
I have to look at the models to see how much rain they're expecting, but any rain in general is not going to be good news for them because all of that moisture and even the mild weather, that is a lot of snowpack. A lot is going to melt, and rain on top of all of that moisture will lead to flooding issues and concerns for sure.
They just need a break, a little sunshine and some 40-degree weather.
Yeah, just quiet conditions. A slow melt is what you want, but these temperatures going 40s and 50s, it's going to start melting quickly. And
here we don't mind.
Right. Here we don't mind, and we don't have that snowpack.
Even though we're trading warmth for snow or for sun, you said, right?
We are. It's a little bit of a give and take relationship. That seems to be the case with our weather here in Chicago. Our temps going up, we take away some sunshine. But for tonight, partly cloudy skies. We have temps in the 40s right now, feeling like it's in the 30s. Today's high 45 degrees. We haven't been this mild since early December, and our first day that we finally climbed above that freezing mark in the past week, almost a week. So 6 days we had those temperatures below freezing. The record for today close to 70 degrees. Be nice. December high temperatures. We started off mild, and notice the second and third we had highs in the 50s. We'll be close to that tomorrow. Could be the warmest day this month if our temperature gets to 53 or above. We'll monitor that. Right now we have our highs set near 50 degrees, but coming off of the last 7 days, boy, what a difference. Today's high 45. We're still down about 3.5 degrees in terms of the average temperature for the month. Outside right now, 30s and 40s. Temps not dropping tonight. Wind gusts currently at about 25 to 35 miles per hour. It's been a windy night leading into a windy afternoon, and those winds will stay quite high overnight into the day tomorrow. So it makes it feel about 5 to 10 degrees colder outside, but it feels like it's in the 30s. At least it feels above freezing. Futurecast showing the temperatures continuing climb tomorrow morning. We're near 50 degrees by about 10 a.m. and then our temperatures will continue to climb into the low 50s as we head through the afternoon out ahead of this front. That will bring in some moisture, but it's also going to drop our temperatures, but it won't be a huge dramatic drop in our temps. So by tomorrow night, we're in the 50s into Friday, early morning 50s, but then our temperatures will start to crash during the morning and the afternoon. So by the afternoon, we're back down into the 30s. So a little bit of a temperature swing over the next 24 to 48 hours. But overall, our temperatures will be staying near and above average. Into the day tomorrow, we do get the cloud cover back in place. Limited sunshine here. Some patchy drizzle with some showers developing late Thursday into early Friday. As we head late week, the end of the year, our temperatures in the low 40s. So when we look at our skies right now, we're quiet, but we have some clouds and gusty winds out ahead of this system. A strong area of low pressure will be pulling out of the Four Corners region. This will start to increase the moisture here at home. Not looking at a heavy, steady rainfall, but as we go late Thursday into Friday, some showers will get going here. And the best chance for this rain to really set in will be off to the south and east of us. So a few passing showers, but then some heavier precipitation will be setting in as we go into early Saturday across parts of the area. Some of you staying mainly dry and quiet through the weekend. Futurecast going in a little bit closer tomorrow morning. Cloudy skies tomorrow, highs in the 50s, some drizzle possible. Then later in the evening, some passing showers, light in nature. The best chance here, Northwest Indiana, to see some scattered rain showers occurring late Thursday into early Friday. Friday, much of the day is dry, but late Friday into Saturday, we're watching the next system, and this is what we're looking out for Buffalo as well. This rain will be hitting and impacting our region mainly off to the south and east of the city. So Saturday morning starting off with some rain for some of you, but then mainly dry conditions through the rest of the day and evening with just a few showers, possible sprinkles for New Year's Eve festivities. And like I said, that accumulating rainfall will be off to the south and east, mainly in northwest Indiana. So New Year's Eve coming in mostly dry, a few sprinkles, cloudy, temps in the 30s as we bring in the new year. For tonight, temps holding steady and then actually climbing. By tomorrow morning, we're near 50 degrees. That will be our high Friday 40s. And we continue with above average weather through the weekend and into the start of the new year, guys.
Hey, stick around because later we're talking previous New Year's, Cheryl.
Okay. A look back before we look forward, right?
Perfect.
Yeah, we look back at both of you. You guys are stars on that night. So we'll see you again in a little bit.
All right, well, take a look at all this equipment. Imagine flying with that. The Downers Grove North Band and Choir will perform in the London New Year's Day Parade.
We're the Trojan Marching Band from Downers Grove, Illinois. Happy New Year, London!
They recorded that message before heading across the pond. Students and staff filled buses before boarding a British Airways flight. Some of the school's music ensembles will also perform in several concerts, so they'll actually get to the new year before we do.
That's wild. I didn't think about that. Have fun. It's going to be great. Up next, we're looking back at the year's top stories here in the Chicago area. We'll have that when we come back.
From elections to major court rulings and more, 2022 has been a busy year here in Chicago.
I'm done in just a few days. Let's take a look back at some of the year's top stories.
We celebrated the start of 2022 with a throwback to the 90s, with Cheryl Scott and Terrell Brown taking over State Street for their incredible New Year's Eve performance on Countdown Chicago. Just days into the new year, a dispute over COVID safety measures for Chicago public schools. After 5 days of canceled classes, a deal was finally reached between the district and the teachers union. Also in January, we held our 8th annual Great Chicago Blood Drive in partnership with the American Red Cross. That same month, the Chicago Bears ushered in a new era of leadership, firing head coach Matt Nagy and GM Ryan Pace, and hiring Matt Eberflus and Ryan Poles to take over at the top. In February, Jason Van Dyke was released from a downstate prison. The former Chicago police officer served less than half of his sentence for the 2014 murder of Laquan McDonald.
Van Dyke, prosecute! Van Dyke, prosecute!
His early freedom prompting protests downtown. This month also saw the return of the Chicago Auto Show to its traditional February time frame. February ended with a significant shift in our pandemic fight. Illinois and Chicago both lifted their mask mandates for most indoor settings. It was March when federal prosecutors announced the long-anticipated indictment of Michael Madigan. the former Illinois House Speaker, now facing federal racketeering and bribery charges. March also brought the latest twist in the Jussie Smollett saga. The former Empire actor was sentenced to 150 days behind bars after he was found guilty of lying to police about a fake attack.
Jussie, how does it feel to be free?
But just 6 days into that sentence, Smollett walked out of jail, his release ordered, pending an appeal of his conviction.
This is the law.
This was also the month of this historic moment. 67 years after the Chicago teenager was murdered in Mississippi, President Biden signed the Emmett Till Anti-Lynching Act into law, making lynching a federal hate crime. In April, the Chicago Bulls clinched the team's first NBA playoff berth in 5 seasons. The plan to build Chicago's first casino took a big step forward in May when Mayor Lori Lightfoot announced Bally's had won the bid with its riverfront proposal. In June, the Supreme Court's decision to overturn Roe v. Wade set off strong reactions both from abortion rights supporters and anti-abortion advocates. Then in July, a horrific attack at Highland Park's 4th of July parade. A shooter opened fire, killing 7 people and injuring dozens of others. But in the face of so much heartbreak and grief, residents came together.
This evil attack will not define who we are.
In August, the Highland Park shooting and growing crime concerns across our entire area prompted us to take a closer look at the issue and how to stop it as part of our special day-long coverage entitled Our Chicago, Stop the Violence. The last day of August also marked the first time a busload of migrants would arrive in Chicago, sent by Texas Governor Greg Abbott. We were in court in September as disgraced R&B star R. Kelly was convicted on child pornography and exploitation charges. The Chicago Marathon was back in full force in October, with 40,000 runners racing through the streets this year. The big story in November was the election. The most watched and most contentious race in Illinois was for governor, with Democrat J.B. Pritzker winning a second term over downstate Republican Darren Bailey.
Hope I'll see you around.
In November, we also celebrated the retirement of our colleague and friend, Alan Krzyzewski, who anchored his final newscast after an incredible 40-year career. And in this final month of 2022, the University of Chicago men's soccer team made history by winning the program's first national championship, and their coach made history too. Julianne Sitch is the first woman to coach a men's soccer team to an NCAA title. Also giving us joy are the holiday festivities happening across the city and the suburbs, from tree lightings and dazzling displays to toy giveaways and other acts of generosity, showing the true spirit of the season.
Gosh, you look back and you forget all of the things that have happened. That was this year. That was,
and the timeline too.
Right.
You remember, you think to yourself, "Oh, that was in March, or that was in February." It's been quite a year.
Always interesting.
I think the take. I remember last year's and seeing all the people out doing things in public. That's a huge takeaway for me.
And actually doing that, because 2021 was the year we thought we were going to do that, and then
I mean, having events like that where people could go and crowds, it was just awesome.
First year, probably in a couple, that there wasn't much of a COVID mention in that year-ender piece.
Right.
So
I was thinking about Alan coming into work today too, and 40 years.
40 years.
That's
It's a long time.
Yeah.
It's a long time.
Sure, him and Colleen are doing
And
great.
I guess it's been about a month since he's been gone.
It's been a couple months.
No, just one. Just one.
Oh, 1 month. Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Time
What
is
if
a
he's
weird.
watching?
Time is a weird thing.
They're not even in the country. Having fun, enjoying retirement. So there you go. We got a couple more days, and then we're done. On to 2023.
I don't even know what to make of that.
Yeah, the Mega Millions rolls
And then
over.
that difficult week or so where you have to remember to say 2023, not 2022.
Do you write checks, anybody, anymore, where you write 2022 and then you cross it out? I don't write checks anymore.
No, nobody writes a check for
The Mega Millions rolls over again.
The mega amount now up for grabs and your chance to win.
Plus the year's top films at the box office. And we're going to talk more about New Year's. It's going to be fun. Talk about the market a bit. Stocks falling today on Wall Street with traders expecting a losing year. Dow down hundreds of points. Tech-heavy NASDAQ also losing ground today. The S&P 500 expected to see its worst year since 2008. Tesla stock rising a bit today after a straight week of big losses for this company. Shares of the electric vehicle company down nearly 70% since the start of the year. On pace for its worst year ever. But a successful launch today for Elon Musk's SpaceX. Company's Falcon 9 rocket carrying 54 Starlink satellites into orbit early this morning. The goal of those satellites is to provide internet to people living in remote areas around the globe. That's Greg. That's the sound effect Greg's using, right?
I like it.
Yeah, that's definitely not the rocket.
Some internet sound.
It's on the tape, right? Yeah, it makes a very unique noise.
Well, Bill Cosby may be planning to go on tour next year. That's what he said during a radio interview today. Cosby was convicted of sexual assault in 2018, but that conviction was overturned by the Pennsylvania Supreme Court in 2021. A new lawsuit was filed against the star earlier this month. Cosby's representative told Variety the comedian hopes to start the touring in spring or summer.
A lot of critics said this movie would tank. Avatar: The Way of Water has officially earned $1 billion. At the global box office, it took 14 days. That's faster than any other movie this year. Only 2 other films have earned that much this year: Jurassic World Dominion and Top Gun Maverick. And the Tom Cruise movie isn't just a box office hit. Top Gun Maverick was the most watched global premiere on Paramount Plus. It hit the streaming service last week.
But the Mega Millions jackpot rolls over again.
So Friday's drawing will now be worth at least $640 million. It's a lot.
No one matched all 6 numbers in last night's drawing to win the big prize. Several people did match 5 numbers to win $1 million each. This is the 5th time in Mega Millions history that the jackpot is over $600 million, like that cha-ching sound there.
Yeah, what are the chances someone in the Chicago area wins again? Remember?
Which is what Des Plaines, right?
Yeah.
And we still have never found out who that person was.
Because they can remain anonymous, which they have. And I remember we were talking about this show, and Cheryl and I were, she's like, they'll come forward. They're coming. It was the last day.
Right.
And they came forward.
Huh.
Wonder who it is.
Do you think that they had that ticket all along and they were just waiting? Why would you tempt fate that way?
What would you do? I would be so scared to hold it. I would put it in a
Right.
safe. I don't know.
I lose my parking ticket in there, that little ticket when you drive into a garage. I'd never stand a chance. Well, Jose Sanders is hanging out with the Practical Theater Company, getting set for a series of their comedy musical shows that start tomorrow. He talks to the cast next, but first, let's check in with Cheryl.
We are tracking the warmer temperatures, 40s right now, and temps climbing overnight into the day tomorrow. Tomorrow, one of the warmest days this month. How warm it will feel, and rain on the way for the end of the year. We'll time it out coming up.
Practical Theater Company is a rousing comedy troupe that started out in Chicago over 40 years ago and is still going strong.
Our Jose Sanders talked to the performers you can see in shows starting tomorrow.
We're finally out of the house. We're finally out of the house. Glad to be here after canceling last year.
It's Vic and Paul and Dana's post-pandemic review. The troupe actually got COVID just before their scheduled shows this time last year.
I lost my sense of taste.
You never had any taste to begin with.
The Practical Theater Company was first started by Northwestern students who've kept performing together over the years.
Next time, remember when you take your meds.
Paul Barros, his wife Victoria Zelensky, and Dana Olson. They'll be at Studio 5 in Evanston, along with music man Steve Rashid.
There's a lot of new stuff. There's stuff that we were preparing to do last year, and a renewed sense of determination that we've got to celebrate this. We've got to get back in a live comedy room.
I love you. I must have you.
Paul was among the founding members who were playing at their new space in Piper's Alley when SNL came calling. Recognize the young Julia Louis-Dreyfus? But big-time TV could cramp their freewheeling style.
It was an adjustment to go from where you had the control. If you thought it was funny, it got on stage, and you immediately found out in previews or last whether you were right or wrong.
We're finally back on the stage in this N95 mask-free age.
The Chicago audience feels to me to be more present in the moment and are just up for having a great time. Having the people right there and that mutual exchange of energy between the cast and the audience is everything.
They know this form, you know, they love this form. This is where it grew up, you know, all the way back, you know, from the early 50s.
So it's, you know, it's kind of all, stylistically, it covers a range.
And with the laughs and the drinks, this is a good time.
Oh, well, that's my hope. My wife and I built this theater, so this is our place. And we opened in 2015, and we love to have this as a gathering place for the community, and this is a perfect thing for us to bring in here.
Morty and Mitzi. There we go.
The parking is excellent. The drinks are fantastic and inexpensive, and it's funny.
It's the best 2 hours of fun you're going to have this holiday season.
No more theater on Zoom. We're back live in this room. Busted out of our pandemic cage.
Jose Sanders, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
You can see Vic and Paul and Dana post-pandemic review at Studio 5 in Evanston tomorrow through Saturday, and next week, January 4th through the 7th.
Tradition returning to Times Square today, 16th annual Good Riddance Day. It's time to say goodbye to 2022. You write down your bad memories and biggest regrets from the year and get rid of them before racing through the finish line to enter 2023.
I like that.
And have a great new year. Do you have some things you want to put in there? Good riddance.
Yeah, nothing I can really think of off the top of my head, but I love the idea of just saying bye to stuff. End of, I think it was 2020 into 2021, a friend of mine went to a sweatpants burning party, you know, because everybody was in sweatpants all of 2020, and they burned them, threw them into the...
That early first year,
Right.
everybody was just done. Like,
Yeah.
let's just get to 2021, and then it was 2022. And
Right,
Here we are.
I know, here we are.
So New Year's Eve is just 3 days away.
And around the country, there are some interesting ways to ring in the new year. We'll tell you how next. Well, New Year's Eve is on Saturday.
And as people bring in the new year, there's some strange traditions around this country. You ready? In Mobile, Alabama, they drop a moon pie. It's a 600-pound electric version of the snack.
They sure do. They get excited about it, too. I lived down there for a while.
Really?
And yes, in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, there's plenty of family fun at Peeps Fest, which features the Peeps Chick drop with a nice early drop at 5:30 in the evening so kids can enjoy.
And maybe some adults.
And fun fact, I'm a huge Peeps fan.
Are you?
Huge.
We're learning
Love
things
Peeps.
about you.
Love Peeps.
And right here in the Midwest, there's the pierogi drop in Whiting, Indiana. And that's where Liz is a legend. That's it. That was 2019 when you were there.
That's it. That was it. And we were like, okay, it's a good thing they're telling us that's a pierogi because it looks like a taco. There we were. The
here it is. Here, these women were fabulous.
Oh, and this was all impromptu.
Here?
This is when they're dressing me up like a busha, but I did not know that this was going to happen. And the best part of this kit, I don't know if you can see it here, it came with a toilet plunger. I don't even remember.
Oh,
there it is, right there. I don't remember the purpose of that, but it came with a toilet plunger.
I had no idea. Do you still have it?
I don't think. I wish I did. I should have saved some of that stuff. But this all happened on live. Like I couldn't even put the mic in the right
Yeah, you're
spot.
like, do I hold the plunger up or the mic? You were so sweet.
Oh, and this is
What
the
is
late.
that?
This is when they wish you getting laid in the New Year. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's what.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That was
All live TV. Fun time.
Now, in the break, you were saying you used to do. Was it in Miami? There was
Right, so
another
I've
drop?
worked around the country, yeah. And no, in Miami, they do the opposite. They send an orange up the side of the building, up rather than down.
Really?
I don't know why.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
This one with Pitbull, Mr. Worldwide hosting it all. Good time.
You're going to want to watch.
And in Pensacola, they do a pelican drop. So I don't know. Send us your fun stuff from around the country.
I had no idea you had such extent. This is why you were such a natural at Pierogi Fest.
Right.
Because you know all these unique. They're going to miss you this year. You're going to want to watch New Year's Eve right here on ABC7. Dick Clark's New Year's Rockin' Eve with Ryan Seacrest starts at 7, followed by a special edition of Eyewitness News at 9. After that, we head back to New York to watch the ball drop. Then Countdown Chicago starts at 11:25. Then more fun from around the country.
Big night.
It's going to be awesome.
But the big celebration and all we really want to see, or at least what we're most excited about, Terrell and Cheryl's big dance. This is how they rung in the new year in 2019. This was the Lyric Opera House, I think, right, Cheryl?
Here, is Cheryl with us?
Yes.
Was this
was
the
the
first
Lyric
one?
Opera House. I remember those pants.
This was year one of it.
This was the
Lyric
inaugural
Opera House.
dance.
Yeah, well,
How it
and
all
then
started, and this one was done all in one take.
Really?
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was hard.
Wow. Well, then a year later, this is another one I remember, even bigger production to kick off 2020. This was when they opened the outdoor rooftop at Navy Pier, right?
Yep, Navy Pier. Loved this one.
Did you love this one?
I did.
Do you have a favorite?
Outside.
It was cold that year, though, I remember.
It was cold.
That was the year that
though, like the production was cool.
Oh, look at that. You guys are so good.
Remember, the pandemic didn't stop the dancing. This was to start 2021.
Yeah, this was hard this year.
Really?
The pandemic year?
It was challenging.
We couldn't be around anyone really, so
we
it was
weren't
like
inside.
learning the dance by yourself over Zoom.
Oh, and that's why you see the masks too.
Yeah, the dancers were in masks. We could barely like be together at all.
And it was scary. It was a scary time.
It was.
But that year was very important. I remember we talked about this because people were looking for entertainment. Everybody was really watching TV that year for some sort of sense of belonging.
Great point. There were so many more people at home watching this.
Yeah, we were so fortunate to be able to do something.
Right.
And pull it off.
But that was a real challenge. Oh, a little animal print there previewing what maybe we're going to have this year. And then to kick off this year, the dancers shut down State Street right outside our studio here. 90s theme.
It was awesome.
Throwback.
Yeah, the 90s theme
my
was
favorite.
This is your favorite?
Yeah.
The cars were amazing.
Just the music too. Like that was I was growing up then.
Those outfits, I remember, it reminds me, I love those teals and those just kind of 90s colors. They literally shut down State. This is right outside our studio,
Right.
they said. And
it was just awesome.
shut her down.
And this, I think this was sort of like the good vibe people needed to get into this year where we were able to get past everything. All right, this year, go ahead, you tell us about this. Night
Well,
at the...
this year, it's sneak peek. It's
Yeah,
Night at
we're
the
showing
Field
this.
Museum, so you guys know that much. If you've seen the movie, you can get an idea.
Oh.
I feel like we just saw two different costumes there, too.
I've watched that a couple times. Terrell and Cheryl have put it on social media if you want to go and see a couple things to like freeze it, like you said.
Wow.
Just like that.
People are like, wait,
Where are they? Well, and also this had to have been challenging, just trying to pick Terrell's brain, which of course he wouldn't tell me anything about this. But I mean, you're shooting the Field Museum. There are relics in there.
There are relics, and it's a museum, and there's a lot of it's sacred territory.
Right.
Yeah. Was it odd?
Dance next to
you can't
a lot
knock knock down Sue the T-Rex.
Exactly.
Well, being in there when it's closed, because I've been a part of events there where they close it, but you go in and they set up tables for big formals. But being in there when there was nobody, was that weird? Is it spooky?
I felt like I was living the movie, truly, because we were there all together. It was like sleepover camp at the museum. It was so fun.
Worked really hard.
Yes, we do work really hard.
We're so thrilled. The other players in it, you and the Babushkas, you're not in it.
Right, not in it this year.
But
Val and Ryan.
Val and Ryan. Who else? Jose, Cheryl?
And then we have Kenzie and Roman.
Oh, they're back.
They got to go to the pierogi drop last year.
I'm not sure where they are this year. I'm
Oh.
not really sure where I am.
Right.
I mean, I know where I am.
Right.
You'll be on TV.
Yes, we'll be on TV dancing in the new year.
You excited? You must look forward to this every year.
Yeah, so excited. Truly, it's a process. It's a lot of work, but it's so fun.
Okay.
So you have the New Year's forecast up there.
We do.
So come midnight, it's not going to be freezing.
It's not going to be freezing. This is great weather to dance in. Well, temps above freezing in the 30s, looking good. A check of that weather. Not looking at really any big impacts here. For the weather or hiccups moving through New Year's Eve night. It will be a good night to be inside with friends and family. A few sprinkles possible, but mainly dry conditions expected come Saturday night as we ring in the new year. A live look outside right now. It's quiet, although it's windy and also warmer. Temps in the 40s, feeling more like it's in the 30s. Today's high 45 degrees. Finally, a day where our high temperature making it above freezing. It's been 6 days since we've seen that. You can see back on the 20th, we were at 33. The next couple of days, those temperatures didn't even get above, I should say the 22nd, we were at 33 degrees. The 23rd, one below for our high. We started December off mild. That is not how the last week was, but we're going to end it on a mild note. We're still below average in terms of the average temperature for the month. We'll make up for some of that ground over the next couple of days. Outside right now in the 40s, and our temps really not dropping too much more. We have winds gusting in out of the south and west, keeping us mild here, but it's also windy. Gusts up to 25, 35 miles per hour, wind chill in the 30s. Futurecast showing our temperatures here continuing to climb. So tomorrow morning, stepping out the door in the 40s, and then we go into the 50s. Tomorrow will be one of the warmest December days for us this year. So impressive warmth here, moving in well above average temperatures by about 15 degrees. We're going to stay above average too as we end this year. Friday and Saturday, our highs will be in the 40s, but we do have some showers on the way. Right now, we are currently dry. Clouds will be on the increase. This is the storm system we're tracking out to the Four Corners region, and this is going to pump in some moisture here as we go into the day tomorrow. So some areas of drizzle possible. Not looking at a heavy steady rain early Friday morning. Some scattered showers moving past northwest Indiana, but Illinois looking to stay dry. And then as we head into Saturday, some showers will be moving in and lifting into parts of our area, but a lot of you also staying on the northern side of this, so not a whole lot of rain expected across our region. So the best rain chances will be late tomorrow into early Friday, mainly south and east. That will be the zone along and east of I-57 as we go into the start of the weekend. Friday temperatures will be much cooler during the afternoon as they'll be dropping during the day, and then late Friday into early Saturday, there you can see some rain setting up, mainly while we're sleeping. By about 6, 7 o'clock, it starts to pull away. So in terms of the rain totals, we're looking at those higher amounts being well off to the south and east of Chicago, up to the north, not looking at a whole lot of rain. So a little bit active, but nothing major. We're just taking away some of that sunshine, unfortunately, but at least we get some warmer temperatures. So into the 50s tomorrow, 40s through the weekend, and we stay above average as we head into next week. On and off rain showers expected here late Monday into Tuesday. Some rain likely. Tuesday high there of 54 degrees. Back to you guys.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
This dancing kid went viral for his Christmas concert performance. Ahead, we're hearing from the boy who's now internet famous. Coming up. Get after it. 8-year-old Jaden Williams is now a star. He upstaged his classmates during his elementary school's winter concert. The San Francisco Bay Area's boys' dance moves have been seen by more than 20 million people.
I was so excited to do that. I tell my Miss Harrington, my music teacher, when is the winter concert gonna start? I was so happy.
I love that dude. Oh, he did it again.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
Jaden seems to have natural performing skills.
Get him on the New Year's show next year.
I was going to say, he needs to be on the show. He says when he grows up, he wants to be a football player. He's clearly a
He's got his end zone dance down.
Right. That takes some bravery. You get up there and just let loose.
I don't think he was ashamed at all. No, he was rocking it. We should all be so uninhibited.
I like what you're saying. Let's get Jaden on the show.
Well, thanks so much for joining us tonight. For Cheryl Scott, I'm Liz Nagy.
I'm Rob Belgus. See you again tonight at 10.